Welcome to part 4 of my rebooking of NXT in 2020. This time we'll be looking at Mr. NXT himself, Johnny Gargano, Johnny Takeover, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny whatever the fuck. Johnny Gargano probably had one of those really mixed bag years. In one hand, he was still at the top. He was still one of the most reliable guys you got, but he just kept losing and losing and losing to the point that you're just like, why is this guy still relevant? And people say that his heel turn was bad, and I agree. I think it wasn't the best, but it kind of made sense for his character to be heel for a while and then eventually turn himself into a babyface. It just took some time, and honestly, and this is the honest truth, heels do not work without a crowd. The pandemic really hurt that, and it sucks because I think deep down Johnny Gargano could have been a solid heel because his mini heel run when he was going after Ricochet and Aleister Black, it was all right. It just like it was weird for some reason they made him like have these really weird segments like if he was like some cynical looking dude, but he just wore the same attire. It's just like, why were you trying to make him cynical if he was just gonna look the exact same way? Like, remember those segments with him and Candice LeRae? It was so stupid. um so yeah, we're not doing that. Uh we are gonna make him a heel, but we are gonna change up how he does things. And pretty much his timeline, just like everybody else, they've been kind of good for the most part. Like his match with Finn Balor, him coming back and facing Finn Balor and then turning heel on Tommaso Champa at the end was great. So we'll keep that the same, and then we do the one final beat match. Now originally the match probably had potential by being one of the best matches. I heard the original plans that they were going to do Champa and Gargano inside Hell in a Cell, which would have been awesome, but unfortunately that didn't come about. And I didn't mind this one final beat match. There's only one little problem, and that there was no consequence. If both of them were going to fight, and then after the match they were just going to move on and do something else. And I think they should do a loser leaves NXT match. Like, there's the only way it could work. And I know that neither one of these guys wants to go to NXT or to Raw or SmackDown, I should say. No one wants to leave NXT. But if you send one of them packing, one of them will truly get some heel heat. And that is why Johnny Gargano will beat Tommaso Ciampa and bans him from NXT. And what happens to Tommaso Ciampa? Retires. He said that if he has nothing left to do in NXT, he'll just retire and be a trainer. And some people say that's a bad thing. It's like I don't see it being a bad thing. Like, he doesn't need to go to Raw or SmackDown. But if he stays in NXT and he's a leader, training all these other guys, and he knows how NXT should work, then keep him. That is fucking brilliant. Instead, just try to like sugarcoat him in a shitty tag team with Timothy Thatcher. It's just like, no, keep him as a trainer, help him, let him help the new upcomers because we're in a pandemic and we need a guy like Champa who knows the NXT feel doing that thing. Now, what do we do with Johnny Gargano? Um, Oh yeah, side note, Karrion Kross does not attack Tommaso Ciampa after the match. Instead, Karrion Kross will feud with Matt Riddle after Matt Riddle loses the tag team championships. So at Any Your House will be Karrion Kross versus Matt Riddle. Karrion Kross wins, and then Matt Riddle goes to the main roster. That's figured out. Anyways, Johnny Gargano. We talk about how he wants to be a champion, that he wants to be the next NXT champion. Guys like Kevin Owens should not be competing for that NXT belt because he never left NXT. He should be at the top. And then that's when Keith Lee talks about how I need to beat the best of the best. And so far, you are Mr. NXT. Why don't you face me for the North American Championship? And Johnny Gargano's like, yeah, you know what? I will. And after that, you're going to lose that belt, and I will carry that North American Championship, make it as relevant as possible, and eventually be the NXT champion once again. That's the goal. And then we do In Your House, Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano. We keep the match the exact same way. Keith Lee wins, just like the Keith Lee booking. And then Johnny Gargano still wants revenge against Lee. He wants to be NXT champion. So then we do that epic fatal 4-way that I've been teasing or saying at every possible video ever. But yeah, like I said, Keith Lee, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor. That's the main event of NXT Takeover 30. First fall North American Championship. Second fall NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano wins the first fall by pinning Keith Lee. He is now your new North American champion, and Keith Lee retains the NXT championship. Now on to Johnny Gargano to move on from things, and he talks about how you guys are probably expecting me to do open challenges. This is not uh, the main roster. He talks about how he's up for some change. NXT is changing. They moved to Tuesdays, and now they're on TV, and they this and that. And I want to beat the best of the best. So I'm issuing a 6-pack challenge with 6 guys that I personally would want to face. Um, so then we pick like 6 random guys that Johnny Gargano might be interested in facing. And he honestly picks a bunch of cruiserweights, just like a bunch of small people that he knows that will be easy to beat. And in doing so, Kushida wins that 6-pack challenge. And Damian Priest is right now getting over, having some great back-to-back matches, having a good winning streak after his fall down with Finn Balor. And he talks about how he should be in that 6-pack challenge. He would have won, and it's just because Johnny Gargano is scared, and Johnny Gargano's too afraid to face me. And Johnny Gargano cuts a promo before his epic match with Kushida on TV. He says that I don't need to listen to Damian Priest. Kushida is a guy who has been here longer than Damian Priest. How come he doesn't get a shot at the North American Championship? I'm just seeing it how it goes, and pretty much is just admitting that Johnny Gargano is a coward to fight big guys like Damian Priest because he barely even beat Keith Lee just by cheating. So, anyways, on an NXT televised show, we do Johnny Gargano versus Kushida. The match hopefully goes solid. I mean, they had one at, I believe, NXT Takeover Vengeance or something like that, but that was a good match. But I'm pretty sure with we keep the Back to the Future Kushida, I think we would have an epic match. And anyways, Johnny Gargano still your North American champion, and then Damian Priest calls him out the next week, talk about how he should be North American champion. He says hell no, and yeah, pretty much we build that match up, and now I'm gonna take a side note, and I never explained in the Io Shirai video how did Candice LeRae become a number 1 contender. She just kind of got it. Here's how I would do it. Candice LeRae challenges Io Shirai in a one-on-one match, and if she wins, she will face Io Shirai at Takeover Halloween, which is the next Takeover. Anyways, we do a match with Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, non-title. The referee is down. Johnny Gargano comes with a referee shirt. 1, 2, 3, really fast count, and Johnny Gargano helps Candice LeRae win a match against Io Shirai, but Io Shirai still is strong because even though she got pinned, she got screwed over. So now that we do the Halloween match, the TLC match that was part of the Io Shirai rebooking, we basically hype up that match more because now Candice LeRae could say that she beat Io, and Io Shirai talks about how she's a fraud. And around this time, she knows that the Garganos are no match for her. Like Johnny Gargano could probably find other ways to screw him over. So she calls Damian Priest for help, and then we do a mixed tag team match. Damian Priest and Io Shirai versus the Garganos, with Damian Priest pinning Johnny Gargano. Big shocking moment. It was like, what the hell? And then now William Regal sees like, yes, Damian Priest is the new number 1 contender for the North American Championship. And at NXT TakeOver Halloween, it's Johnny Gargano, North American Champion, versus Damian Priest, the contender. and they spin the wheel. They do a mystery match. Each match of NXT Takeover Halloween will follow this concept, and they'll get a false count anywhere match. Just a fun match to have, like candlesticks and chairs and tables and shit. And this should be a fun, solid match. This could be a great match. Honestly, they had great matches. They had great chemistry. But anyways, they go a good distance, and Damian Priest is your new North American champion. Yes, Johnny Gargano's popular for losing at Takeover, but things will change in the upcoming year. So, meanwhile, now that Damian Priest is your new North American champion, he wants to make the belt as relevant as possible. So he is gonna start doing open challenges, similar to what Seth Rollins and John Cena did. But he wants to do it for now the new upcoming talent. So people who he probably never faced or never got a chance to be at a North American champion, he wants to take on all types of newcomers. So his first open challenge will be against Bronson Reed, because Bronson Reed is awesome, and this could be a great way to show who Bronson Reed is. And the next week, Cameron Grimes. Then we do I was thinking we could do Bobby Fish, because he wants to prove himself to be just as good as the Undisputed Era. Around this time, I mentioned that Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong do their thing, and then Bobby Fish is kind of irrelevant. This could be a fun way to have Bobby Fish do something on his own. But basically, Damian Priest goes through this epic winning streak, and then Isaiah Swerve Scott, who failed to be Cruiserweight champion, wants a shot at the North American Championship. And then we do Damian Priest versus Isaiah Swerve Scott around November or even December, whenever. But this is around the time Johnny Gargano returns from injury, because if you're going to have a big, like, no disqualification match with Gargano and Priest, I think you got to sell the injury and take Johnny Gargano off of TV for a while. Same thing with Candice LeRae, who just had a TLC match at NXT TakeOver Halloween. Anyways, Johnny Gargano returns, screws over Damian Priest. Isaiah Swerve Scott is your new North American champion. Now, you're probably wondering, are you doing the same thing as Priest, Gargano, and Leon Ruff? Yes, but switch, because I don't like Leon Ruff. He's lame. I don't see anything with potential. Isaiah Swerve Scott, I was a big fan of him ever since his kill shot days in Lucha Underground. So it'll be great. And plus, Isaiah Swerve Scott's not going to hold that belt for long. Pretty much the story of Isaiah Swerve Scott is that because he failed to be the Cruiserweight champion, he failed in that division. He thinks he's still got some in the tank, and he's even fought Johnny Gargano at the Great American Bash, like in real life. So Isaiah Swerve Scott knows that he could be up there as one of the best, so that's why he accepts Damian Priest's open challenge. And sure enough, out of shenanigans, Isaiah Swerve Scott is your NXT North American champion, and people say that Isaiah Swerve Scott is a fluke champion, and Johnny Gargano's like, the only reason why you're champion is because of me. So how about this? You and me at NXT TakeOver the new year. This is going to be a new takeover that takes place on January 2nd, 2021. It will be a fun, way of like showing the new year, and plus it will be a great birthday for me. Imagine that shit. Yeah, I booked my own birthday gift. That's awesome. Anyways, I'm born January 1st, but January 2nd is icing on the cake, just because, like, who wants to see that? Anyways, moving on. I'm getting distracted. But pretty much Damian Priest says that the only reason why Johnny Gargano screwed him over is because he's scared of all the pain I'm going to put him through. And Johnny Gargano's like, that's not true. And they basically go back and forth, and William Regal is tired of it, and he says, I think all of you deserve both Priest and Gargano deserve a rematch at the North American Championship. And because Isaiah Swerve Scott didn't win clean, he proposes a triple threat for the North American Championship at NXT TakeOver the new year. And we do that match and it's three different styles, three different unique styles that would be great. You have the cruiserweight style, the submission technician, the heavyweight. It's three different styles, and it could be a great triple threat match. And sure enough, the winner of this triple threat match is Johnny Gargano. So Johnny Gargano is yet again your new North American champion. Damian Priest is off TV, and he returns at the Royal Rumble, where he'll team up with Bad Bunny and face The Miz and John Morrison. So now the timeline's kind of like back to normal. But Johnny Gargano is now your new North American champion in 2021, and he plans on just being a fighting champion. He even takes on some of the opponents. Johnny Gargano is not going to do open challenges the same way everybody else does, but basically he's going to allow people, give people some shots from time to time, or he'll even make them fight for that chance to be North American champion. So that's the kind of champion Johnny Gargano will be. And then apparently there is no plans for NXT Takeover War Games for Johnny Gargano. This will be the NXT WrestleMania season takeover. We're doing War Games during WrestleMania season. It will be fun for NXT, and I'll explain why I'm doing War Games around this time when I get to another person's rebooking. So it'll explain that. Anyways, Johnny Gargano is pissed that there's nothing for him. And he talks about how he tried to make these people into superstars, but they failed. And yeah, now we're at a takeover. Now we're at an NXT where we have to rely on people who are just devalued in the main roster, so they have to come back. Guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Watch the Undisputed Era rebooking to understand that. And William Regal's like, you know what? You're right. But at the same time, Johnny Gargano, you have been taking fluke victories after fluke victories, and I just want it to stop. So I'm bringing back for one night only. I'm bringing in someone who will put you to the test. And if you lose this match, if you lose the North American Championship, that person will take the North American Championship to the main roster, and that person is Shinsuke Nakamura. I think they had mega plans for WrestleMania 36, but then Cesaro got over. Daniel Bryan was in the triple threat match, and the IC Championship looked like it was going to be a Biggie and Apollo Crews. So it looked like they had plans for Nakamura, but then they changed at the last second. So why not bring him to NXT for one night only? And at NXT TakeOver War Games, Johnny Gargano versus Shinsuke Nakamura, it goes balls to the walls. And this will kind of remind us why we fell in love with Shinsuke Nakamura in the first place. But Johnny Gargano is the winner. And Johnny Gargano is more of a light face. He's not quite yet a baby face, but he's not as bad as he is. Like, he's not sneaking in and like taking like cheap shots. And yeah, he's happy with himself and he wants to be better. So he wants to be a better champion. And then around this time, there's really they're just trying to push other new talents. And around this time, Bronson Reed gets over. So at the NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, which will be replacing In Your House 2, we're doing Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed in a regular one-on-one match. And this is where Candice LeRae comes out and screws over Bronson Reed. And Johnny Gargano retains from Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed is pissed. So at the Great American Bash, which is a TV show, we're doing a rematch. Gargano versus Bronson Reed in a steel cage match, and now Bronson Reed is your new North American champion. Now he's over, and now there's no reason to fire him because he is your champion. And then Bronson Reed could team up with MSK to take on Legados del Fantasma at NXT TakeOver Las Vegas, which will be the upcoming pay-per-view that we do, or takeover that we do, I should say. And what does Johnny Gargano do at NXT TakeOver Las Vegas? Well, he will actually move on to the Cruiserweight division. I won't say who the Cruiserweight champion is, but Johnny Gargano will beat that Cruiserweight champion. He starts to turn more babyface, and now he's like officially a babyface after he starts having great classic matches with the Cruiserweight division. And I think the Cruiserweight division in NXT could use a Johnny Gargano, so he starts having all these classic matches in the cruiserweight division. He loses it to a top heel, preferably either Drew Gulak or Pete Dunne. Those guys would be great. I know Pete Dunne is leaving, and Drew Gulak is honestly doing nothing except fighting for the 24/7 championship. So bring back Drew Gulak, or if there's a new established cruiserweight that I'm missing that they might sign down the future, I don't know who, but yeah, Johnny Gargano will lose the cruiserweight championship down the road, and then now that Johnny Gargano is officially a babyface, at WrestleMania or the Takeover connected to WrestleMania 38, Johnny Gargano will be in the NXT Championship picture against whoever the NXT champion is. I'll save that for a future video. And Johnny Gargano will be your new NXT champion, two-time NXT champion, and then he'll carry 2022 as the NXT champion till he'll eventually lose it to the next top heel. So, what do you guys think of my rebooking of Johnny Gargano? I know I went over 2020. Hell, I even rebooked him in 2021. So, what do you guys think? Stay tuned for the next one because I teased it just now, but part 5 will not be a star. In fact, it will be a division. More importantly, the cruiserweight division. Yes, part 5 will be the cruiserweight division, so stay tuned for that one.